17 days ago, we set sail from South Africa with Table Mountain fading into the distance off our stern. Since then, we've traveled almost 2,000 nautical miles and we've crossed through 2 entire time zones. Now, after 3 incredible days on the remote island of St Helena, swimming with majestic whale sharks, diving into hidden coastal tidal pools, and exploring the vibrant underwater world, we're about to leave this paradise island behind. Our next destination, Fernando De Noronha. Off the coast of Brazil, a stunning 1,700 nautical miles that way. Stay tuned as we sail deeper into the heart of the equatorial South Atlantic. You won't want to miss a second of this journey.
The last few days since leaving St Helena, we have had very, very light wind. So unfortunately, we've been doing a lot of motoring. We haven't been able to use our sails very much. But this morning and a little bit through the night, our wind finally picked up and we're able to sail again. So with the help of Watch Team 3, we put up the mainsail this morning and we have the wind coming directly from our stern right now, which means that we can actually do something called sailing wing on wing, which you can only do when the wind is coming directly at our stern. So what we have going on right now is our mainsail sheeted out on one side and our main staysail sheeted out on the other side. So we get full wind power into both sails and we get pushed along really nicely.
The doldrums. The doldrums are a band of low pressure air circling the globe at the equator, which doesn't receive a lot of wind. It's where the north trade winds and the south trade winds basically meet each other. That hot air rises, forms low pressure air at that area, and results in very little wind. It does create a lot of interesting atmospheric conditions. Towering cumulonimbus cloud developments, isolated pockets of rain and squall, and sporadic winds that come with that. But most of the time it just results in calm seas, flat water, little to no wind, which also fortunately lets us do some pretty special things sometimes. So here we are, stationary in the water with our staysails centerlined. Our speed over ground is now 0. With 2 knots of wind on the port beam, the staysails are now acting like air brakes. This keeps Argo nice and stable as the mid-oceanic swells pass underneath the keel.
Ready? Here we go! Jump. Are you jumping? Or just for what?
Sorry that
3, 2, 1.
no. So we're making soft shackle bracelets. It is first and foremost a soft shackle which can be used at any time for any shackle application here on the boat when needed, but it also makes for good jewelry when worn around your wrist. It's made out of Dyneema, it's flexible, it can be quickly detached and put back together and used to attach things to your far shoulder. And you're going to put on a strip of tape. Oh, we're missing our tape. You're going to put on a strip of tape and then you're going to cut it straight through the middle of that tape. And then that's going to be your length to work with. By the end, we'll probably have about that much to chop off from each tail. That leaves enough for you to make this little knot on top, which is called a diamond knot. The rumors are true. I did make a very miniature one of these to propose to my girlfriend with.
What?
Yeah. Diamond knots. She said yes. In fact, she didn't say anything. It was hard to hear any words come out of her mouth, but I took her response to mean yes. I had to confirm later that it was a yes. Take a bite in the middle of it. Just fold it in half, bend it on itself. That's called a bite.
As we've motored through the doldrums, we finally had the opportunity to do all the repairs to the jib that we needed to do. I've had the help of Silver and Cecily over the past few weeks sewing some patches into the sail, so we're ready to finally bend the jib back on. That's just the word that we say for putting the jib back on. So a little bit about what exactly we did. This part of the sail is known as the leech. And we've sewn in, we had a big tear across the leech, and so we've taken some patches and sewn along the leech like that so we can put it back on. This is called a soft shackle. Soft shackles are used as hanks for the sail, so they're what's going to run along the luff of the sail to attach the sail to the stay. So that is what we're going to do now. We started off by laying the freshly repaired sail out on the bowsprit. Then I headed out onto the tip of the bowsprit to attach the sail onto the stay with the soft shackles. These are really great because of their lightweight, but they're also super strong. Meanwhile, Olympus and Silver are working on flaking down the sail. This means folding it accordion style over itself so it lays nice and flat. And then we finished out by lashing it into place with sail ties. Sail is finally back on and ready for use, but of course we're in the doldrums now, so there's not much wind, but we are ready to go with the sail, halyard on, downhaul back on, and as soon as we get some wind, we'll be using it.
So my name's Zach. I'm doing the first boat check of our 8 to 12 watch, which we do every hour, 24 hours to make sure the boat is okay. And we're going to start all the way back here at the stern with the main sheet, which they might ease out shortly because they're trimming the sails, making sure we have the perfect trim to get as much speed as we can. And we're just checking for loose lines, loose coils, and anything that can cause a problem throughout our shift. So let's go. So we're just checking all the lines on the starboard pin rail. We also want to check that the backstay is still tight, could do with probably a little more in it. So that's something we'll note to the watch team leader when we get back. We've come up to the forward pin rail and they're currently using the, are you easing the forward staysail?
We're easing the forward staysail.
Easing the forward staysail to get the perfect trim. So we'll just hope that they clean up their lines when they're done. Maddie, you're going to clean up the lines?
I am going to clean up the
They're
lines.
going to clean up the lines so we can make sure everything's good up here. They've also got the forward preventer, which they're playing with currently. But Shane, you're going to make sure that preventer's okay?
Yes, sir.
Sweet. So
We just came downwind, so we're easing all sails.
easing all sails. Okay, so they're easing everything. So there's probably going to be a few lines around, but we'll make sure that everything is cleaned up correctly. And then we'll go over to the other side and check on the low side that there's nothing going on over there. Another thing we're checking is that the dinghies, there's nothing loose in the dinghies and they haven't moved over our hatches. They're still latched in okay, and everything inside of it seems still latched down, so we can carry on going with our boat check. Everything on this pin rail is okay. Our boom vang here is still okay and it's not on the way. And then the last few things are just the main lines and the fish sheet or the flying jib sheet that we've got running here. It's not caught, sometimes it gets caught on the boom, so we're just checking it's all good. And then we can head forward and do the logbook over here where we do all the coordinates and the wind and how far we've gone. We would usually do the engine, but engine's currently off because we're sailing away. And then we'll check on here what's going on, and then we'll move forward into the engine room and then all the way up to the forecastle. I'm currently checking the rusty gear that's behind here.
and when the engine's on, this is usually quite hot, but currently engine's off, so it's quite low. Now we're going to check the day tank, which is our fuel. Fuel is still at about 900. And then lastly, we're going to check the bilges in here and make sure there's no loose items running around. It's all good. Check that the propane is off, and then check the freezer and fridge temperature, make sure they're all still okay. And then we've got to check the 2 bilges in here. There's one here and one over there. Head forward towards the forecastle and then the heads. Just checking that the water's all drained from when people have showered and that the actual heads are dry, so there's no water slushing about and everything's okay with the drainage. And then that is our whole boat check done. And yeah, someone will do it on the next hour, every hour into the night.
We're just about 1 day out from Fernando De Noronha, and we're really excited to finally make landfall and stretch our legs a bit. It's about 220 miles off the coast of Brazil and only allows about 11,000 visitors every single month. One really special part of this passage is that we get to go to a lot of remote places that a lot of people don't get to go and see what there is to offer. We're hopefully going to be able to get some nice fresh provisions and tropical fruit on board. It also is really famous for having some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. So we're really stoked to get to swim in these crystal clear waters and see what else it has to offer.
We made it! We're like 15 miles out from Fernando. You can see it right behind us. We slowly started to see it early this morning, and now we're just kind of in the final home stretch. We're just motoring in. We're gonna go around the north side of the island, drop our sails, and then put an anchor down. We are gonna get sails down before lunch. So I think Shane and Nicole are gonna lead sails. You wanna pick dodgeball style? No, I don't care.
That'll be so fun. That'll be so fun. A draft.
And then we'll anchor. Let's go.
Work a little bit more.
Hello everyone, we've just arrived here in Fernando De Noronha after our 12-day passage from St Helena. We're currently in quite a rolly anchorage with Morro do Pico overlooking us and that quite stark peak in the background here. We've got an island tour booked for tomorrow where not only are we going to be exploring some of the world's most beautiful beaches, but we're doing a marine biology lab looking at the shoreline processes and some of the most beautiful endemic marine life we have here. This is only a little bit of a taste of what we have to come in the rest of our trip when we start to arrive in the Caribbean.
Going in Fernando, and we're about to go on a crazy island tour. We're going to go snorkeling, we're going to go and see some of the beaches, and it's going to be insane. Oh, walk along. I'm dipsing one of those when on the way back. This is not fair.
We're waiting to go down the ladder to the prettiest beach I've ever seen.
Sancho Bay is home to an abundance of marine life. Here we have two brown noddies performing nuptial displays where they bow and nod to each other. This behaviour is then followed by flights of courtship. This yellow land crab is feeding on decaying vegetation and bird scat, and is what we believe to be a John Garcia log stoma. They are native to Fernando and only 3 other South Atlantic islands. There are also numerous red-footed boobies nesting in the fig trees along the cliff edges. They feed off small bait fish including flying fish, whose defence mechanisms can be triggered not only by predators but by ships passing through the bay.
Okay, we just spent an hour at the coolest beach ever.
Yes.
Getting slammed by waves and snorkeling and body surfing. It was so sick.
Yes, it's been voted the most beautiful beach for like 7 years now. So it was
Makes
super
sense.
awesome and the water was super clear.
We are at Lions Beach in Fernando De Noronha. It's particularly known as a nesting site for turtles. As you can see, we have lots of white posts that mark turtle nesting, and we're about to go out and snorkel and hopefully see some turtles during their nesting season.
We plan to see some turtles here. Well, instead of seeing some turtles, for baby sharks and a range of other marine life. And then also some of our other crewmates saw a what they think was a lemon shark that was about 7 feet, which is crazy. We're just walking to go see our third beach of the day. We're being truly spoiled.
We're here looking at baby lemon sharks out here in Fernando, where you got this beautiful scenery, and here at this beach is where the sharks will come to lay their eggs. And, right now we're looking at a few weeks after they've hatched, and now they're swimming around this area. It's unbelievable.
We've had an action-packed short time here in Fernando de Noronha. We've seen a diversity of animals from turtle nests all the way to juvenile sharks in the shallows. We have just stocked up on provisions of lots of fresh fruit and vegetables. We're about to lift anchor and head towards the Caribbean.
Okay, let's go.
Put it just into forward gear.
You're gonna look, make eye contact with Callum, and then give him a symbol, and then stop, and then look again, make eye contact.
So Fernando de Noronha is going to fade over the horizon this evening as we have supper, and we are literally sailing off into the sunset again, while motoring off into the sunset in these light airs. We're destined for Devil's Island, and that'll take us about 9 or so days to get there. It'll be a short stop in Devil's Island, 12 to 24 hours, just to have a bit of a run around on the uninhabited island before we continue on our way to Barbados, which we'll reach in about 14 to 15 days from now. These light airs will stick around for 5 or 6 days, and then we should pick up the northeasterly trade winds and get some nice sailing on a reach which will be fantastic. We haven't had much sailing recently. And also coming up on this passage is our equator crossing, which is going to be huge. We've got many polywogs, which will be brought before the court of King Neptune to be judged, either worthy or not worthy of the title Shellback. We shall see. If you'd like to join us as a student on a future voyage, or just learn more about Seamester, then head to our website linked in the description below. And if you have any questions for us, then please ask in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to follow the rest of our epic 6,700 nautical mile journey to Antigua.